Greetings, growers from around the world. Jordan River here, back with more Crowcast. That's Crowcast, everybody. Caw. Today, Rich is back. Rhizo Rich, the rhino himself, back on the line. He's talking about all the strains he's been hunting through. Peachquake drop is live. He touches on that. Talking about beds. Yeah, baby. Switching back to beds. We got a lot of thoughts on that. We're going to have to do some more deep dives, maybe on TV. And yeah, talking about a lot more stuff. Really excited to have the rhino back on. I know y'all are too. Before we get into it though, Rain Science Grow Bags, baby. RainscienceGrowBags.com, code GROWCAST for 10% off. My favorite containers in the game. These are mesh grow bags and they last a lifetime, okay? Take a look at fabric pots, for instance. Sure, they give you that air pruning that you want. That's where the roots grow out to the edges, and instead of just hitting a hard surface like plastic or clay where they spin and spin and spin, they grow through the fabric or they grow through the mesh and they kind of die off, air prune in the light. And that makes for a better root zone in general. The plant is going to focus on kind of lateral branching of the roots, which is what you really want. And you'll just notice a healthier plant, better nutrient uptake, healthier root zone. This is all with breathable bags. So why not go fabric? It's so much cheaper. Well, a couple reasons why you don't want to do that. First of all, the cheap fabric is recycled fabric and you don't know where that came from. Okay, so if you're ordering them online, that fabric could be from anywhere and you don't know what's in there. Cannabis is a bioaccumulator. I would not chance that personally. Now, you can go with a higher end kind of, there are some USA made fabric pots, which are a great option. I'm not going to lie. However, man, you just can't clean those things quite right. RainscienceGrowBags.com. You get yourself a mesh grow bag. It lasts a lifetime. You can clean it over and over. You'll buy it once. You'll use it forever. And it's so much better than after 3 runs. Those fabric ones get all fucked up, and you don't want plastic or clay, which means you go to RainscienceGrowBags.com, which means you use code GROWCAST and you're a happy camper. They even make beds. We're going to be talking about beds today. I think I'm going to grab myself a Rain Science Grow bed when I get to Oklahoma in just a few days here. So again, RainscienceGrowBags.com, code GROWCAST. Love these guys. Really appreciate everything they do, and I know you're going to love them. Let me know how you like them. And also send me a snapshot of you using our codes, always, any code, to be entered to win free seeds every month. All right, y'all, that does it for the intro. Let's get into it with Rich. Thank you for listening and enjoy the program. Hello, podcast listeners. You are now listening to Growcast. I'm your host, Jordan River, and I want to thank you for tuning in again today. Before we get started, I always ask you to spread the show. Turn on a smoker to growing. Turn on a grower to this show and check out our membership program. Our secret society of growers, the Order of Cultivation. You can find that at growcastpodcast.com/membership. So many reasons you want to join up there, guys. So many perks. So many perks. Oh, what do we got today? It's been a while since we've had Rhizo Rich on the line. What's up, Rich? How's it going, man?
Good. How about you, man?
Going real good. I kind of feel, it's funny because I feel I'll neglect the Growcast audience, but we've been traveling. We've been doing classes. We've been doing member stuff.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? It's not that you've been gone from the Growcast universe, but it's been a minute since you've been on the podcast, I realize. So thanks for coming back, man.
Oh, yeah, totally, man. I have no problem doing episodes. I love it. I love coming on and chatting with people, not just the member ones, but yeah, the regular pod is super fun, I think.
Well, it's funny because like time flies. I look now, it's been like 8 weeks or
man.
something. Yeah. And it's like, what? Rich hasn't been on in 12 weeks? Like, it's just funny, man.
Yeah, but we've been so busy too, like you said. It's just hard to find time sometimes to, to record or figure out what we want to chat about necessarily. So.
Well, man, I mean, I got to give you your props. Speaking of, so busy and all the hard work you've been putting in. We're going to talk a lot about different things this episode. I guess it's kind of like a classic Grow Chat. We're going to talk about our trip to the Regenerative Conference. We're going to talk about Rich's work in his soil mix. We're going to talk about breeding. We're going to talk about some products. This is a real classic Grow Chat, if I do say so myself. But to kind of start it off, man, you've been working your ass off with this Peachquake pollination. I want to talk about the pollination. I want to talk about all the incredible strains that you've been working with, do a little strain review talk.
Right.
And yeah, I guess just start by saying thank you, dude, for your incredibly hard work putting out all this fire gear. Really good shit, man. Really, really excited about the Peachquake pollination.
Oh, dude, I appreciate it. And I don't want to go off on a rant or anything, but I appreciate all the members and all the listeners that support us and what we do with Seed Co. because it has led me to be able to, not have to worry about my other regular non-cannabis related businesses. And I can pretty much solely focus on breeding and taking care of my family and shit like that. So all the support that's been pouring in from everybody is super awesome, and
It's
I'm
incredible.
incredibly grateful for it.
You deserve it, man.
I couldn't ask for any more positiveness, I guess you could say, in the community. Everybody's just been so fucking awesome, man. It's
Fuck yeah.
really allowed both of us to do some awesome things. So I really, really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, they're stoked on your gear, man, and what we're doing. Let's do some nice strain reviews and strain deep dives. If you guys remember, I guess it was all the way back when I was in Hawaii, but some of the more impressive strains that we've covered on this show before that Rich has been working with, the peach maraschino, the truffle cake, both included in this pollination. We won't go too hard on those because you can go back and listen to us review those in depth. But also some incredible other strains that you've been working with, man. The Granddaddy Cherry, the Gorilla Glue 4 clone that you picked up from an Illinois friend. Shout out to Next Level Garden Supply. What are some of the most impressive strains that we haven't covered here on the show yet that you've been working with?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I do want to say the Gorilla Glue, I'm not 100%. It's a number 4. I know that the guy who gave it to us said he's unsure of what number it is.
Forgot, yeah.
But it is one of the Gorilla Glues. I'm just unsure of the pheno. It's super good, very gassy. It has that glue smell when you grow it. You definitely notice it right off the bat when it's in flower. Stays nice and squat, so really good for tent grows. It's just really, really dank. Some of the other ones, though, that I wanted to do some breeding. I wanted to do breeding with that one because, like you said, we got it from Next Level, and I thought it would be really cool to do a cross with something that they've been running for, years and years at this point. But also that Granddaddy Cherry you brought up from Relentless Genetics, that one's super fucking dank.
That's right, the Relentless.
Yeah, lots of color, lots of flavor, lots of trichomes. And then also from Relentless, I did some work with the Rotten Rosé from them, which is also super good. It has like this rose and gas flavor. I've never had any cannabis plant that I've grown before that has like a rose terpene, like a rose flower terpene, it's just super, super unique and different. It comes out covered in trichomes too. So I'm sure you can find some pictures back on my page. Farmer John has some pictures on his page of the Rotten Rosé too. And it's an amazing, and like I said, very unique terp profile that I have yet to come across.
Wow, dude.
Then. So that one I did some work with. And then, like you said, that peach maraschino from Lovin' in Her Eyes, did some work with that one too.
Yeah, man. These are all included in the Peachquake pollination. That rosé, though, I guess the geraniol is the kind of classic flower terpene. I wonder if it's just all geraniol like that. I would love to see that thing get tested and see, because I agree, man. Those rose terps are incredible. Have you ever had a rose petal joint?
Dude, I have not, but I have been seeing them in maybe the past year, people making blunts and joints with rose petals. They look very interesting.
It's the real deal.
I haven't heard anybody say that they're bad yet. So
it's the real deal. They're really, really nice. And I like that. The Rotten Rosé by Relentless. It's a lot of R's.
Yeah, that one's phenomenal. And there's a bunch more that I did some work with, like Bloom Seed Co. I got a Tropicana Smash Melons that I bred. That one's super tropical, fruity. God, what are some of the other
pink
ones?
Certs. You haven't touched much on the pink certs.
Oh man, the pink certs from Compound Genetics is super unique.
Oh hell yeah!
Shout out to Farmer John again for sending me seeds for that one. The phenos I got came out very, hence the name certs, like the mints, comes out very like mentholy, minty type of flavor.
Ooh, damn.
I had a couple phenos, but the pheno that I ended up using for breeding, it has that mintiness to it. Once again, lots of trichomes. Pretty much anything that I've bred with is going to have a lot of flavor and a lot of trichomes. I really focus on that part of it. I want it to taste good. I want it to be potent, have a good hive for people. So all these are going to go without saying in that department. But yeah, that Tropicana Smash Melons is really good. The Peach Supernova, we did some stuff with that. Some of the unreleased or limited packs that I did for this last pollination, like Blue Java from In-House.
Fuck yeah. The peach coffee cake. Yeah, man. Some of those crosses are...
Cake.
I want to tease the listeners. Some of those hidden crosses, man. Holy shit. I really think that the Blue Java cross and the Space Guavas cross, the Event Horizon.
Pinky Madman collab, yeah.
I think those are the sleepers on this pollination, man. I'm calling it now. But you've really outdone yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, and then also, I think there was two more. Of course, we had to use the slurricane and cross that to the peach Quake, because the sugarcane cut we have is just so goddamn good, and literally checks all the boxes on yield and flavor and potency and bag appeal. So I had to include that one. Plus, I used that slurricane in the Peach Typhoon I made a while back. So while it's not Peach Typhoon crossed the Peachquake on this run, the slurricane crossed the Peachquake should give a fairly decent representation of what you would probably see if we were to cross those.
Yeah.
I'm definitely curious to see how the Peach Armageddon comes out. The slurricane cross the
100%.
Peachquake and the shitstorm cross the Peachquake should be super interesting too.
A lot of people have been asking. You can get these seeds. If you're just a listener, you can go to growcastpodcast.com/seedco and you'll find instructions on how to order and stuff. We primarily focus on taking care of the members. They get the member discount. We will be probably raising our non-member prices too, again, just because we've got a lot to deal with the members, and that's our focus. But a lot of people have been asking. That is where you can find Rhizo Rich's work. This line is available now. There's a great box set deal. If you get everything, you get a limited one and a free one and 25% off, yada, yada. But I just want to throw that out there for the listeners. Really, I want to focus on, doing like a breeder feature with you, Rhizo Rich. You work with so many you work with such a wide variety of fire strains that, like, I'm sure all the other breeders don't mind getting the shine. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have any qualms or hangups. You're just truly after the most fire. And that's why I'm taking a look at the list of females on this list. And it's just like a laundry list of fire breeders, man. Fucking really crazy.
Yeah, dude, you make a really good point about that. First of all, yeah, we normally do go out to the members first. And now we are done with that rush and we are out to regular listeners now if anybody wants to find our stuff. But yeah, I really try to focus on hunting out some really good genetics. Been very lucky that members, as well as myself and just friends and, people like that have given me tons of killer genetics, like Farmer John, Bobo have both sent me, thousands of dollars worth of seeds, all packs that range anywhere from $200 to $600. And
so you get for helping people, man.
Yeah, we know the main goal is to try to hunt out the very best phenos that we can find and cross the best stuff together. So it is a focus to find my favorite females. I don't want to just pop a pack of something that's supposedly good and cross something with it just because of the name of it. I want to find the very best pheno and something that personally I would keep around as a keeper myself and use that to breed with. So I try to pick out the females that really catch my eye, I guess you could say. And like I said, are keepers in my eyes personally.
You've really outdone yourself. Let's just really quickly, we have so much to cover in this episode, but I had to talk Peachquake pollination. People have been asking about it.
Oh yeah.
But really, really quickly, let's talk about the future. You're working with some seed junkie genetics.
Yes.
You're working with, what else are you super excited about?
Oh man. Geez, give me a minute here because it's going to be a bit of a list.
Go ahead.
Like right now I'm hunting through, I think there's 106, maybe a little more new plants. These are all from, like I said, super quote unquote good packs from, really good breeders.
Oh man.
I'm looking through Caper Purple's Key Lime Pie, his reg and feminized version. I guess he made a fem version recently of it.
Oh wow.
So I'm looking through both of those. Same parents, it's just the feminized. I'm also running his Key Lime Skittles and then some of his cookie fems.
Back to the classics, man. You were running those a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, I've always wanted to see what else was lurking in the Key Lime Pie. I popped 3 plants, got 1 male, and the 2 females I got were incredible keepers. So I've always wanted to look through the rest of that pack, but I only had a couple seeds left, and Caper was incredibly kind enough to send me another pack.
Nice.
And,
love that
some
guy.
of those stems. So I'm going to look through a bunch of those. And then, of course, I got some Relentless. A lot of these are from Farmer John. The Relentless genetics, Relentless cherries, their Cajun berries, and their black cherry gas. Bug Pug Genetics, his new collab number 2. Got some in-house genetics, Super Sure, Brilliant, Garlicane, and Dry Ice. The fresh coast seeds I'm super excited about. Those are the Truffle S1s or Gorilla Butter. The white truffle cut of Gorilla Butter, he S1. So I'm looking through those as well as his Truffle Breath, which is peanut butter breath across the white truffle. And then his Outlaw Cookies. Also Romulan genetics. I'm growing out his Burning Cap.
Oh, hell yeah.
that God by Belief.
Oh yeah, the God, GAWD.
Yeah, that one looks super interesting. And actually, Bobo sent me those seeds, and he grew some out before I have, and his came out just stunning looking.
God
That was the
damn, man.
picture I sent. I sent you pics of his bud, and it was either you or somebody else looked at the pics and said it looks like the bud's like ready to explode or something. It just looks super like weird, and unique looking.
I
Really
love it.
cool though.
Oh, and shout out to Canna Chico was the one who traded for those outlaw cookies.
Yes, I got the outlaw cookies from you that you got from her. Yes.
Dude, it's crazy how many people in the community came together.
She just pulled one of those down and it looked phenomenal, dude.
I love it.
Oh yeah, dude. Almost all of these are from, like I said, members or friends.
Or clients or class people or
yes, actually one of them is from a client.
The only thing that I really, really regret, and I think that we're still going to be able to get our hands on this, maybe they're listening right now. I've been talking about the voice of Joyce, right? And I gave you a sample of that one, dude, and that was not close to my best grow. And it was really, really unique and interesting. And it was given to me by a class attendee named Joyce. This nice old lady just says, here, flower this plant. And goddamn, if it didn't smell like fucking funky feet and a garbage disposal and lime slices.
And gassy. It had it all. It had all the terps that like hit you in the back of the eyes, and really get you high when you smoke it. That's why I enjoy it. Plus, it looked really good.
The voice of Joyce.
I thought you did a great job, but if it wasn't one of your best grows, it still came out fucking fantastic.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that.
That in itself tells you it's a good strain.
We gotta get a cut.
Blow it and fuck it up, and it still comes out great. So
always take cuts, you guys. Like, do as I say, not as I do. And I'm just the worst about just not taking a cut or convincing myself for whatever reason how I have these other femmes and a limited plant count, so I'm just not going to do it, or I'm going to be moving soon, so I'm not going to do it. You can always give the genetics to somebody else. You can do something with it. Like, just take the cuts. That was my biggest mistake this year.
I agree, man. Oh, yeah, the seed junkie. Bobo sent me a whole pack. I think he paid about $550 for these things too. It was some London Pancake 75 across the Cushman's 11. I popped the entire pack of 10 seeds of those. I got all 10 of those going. I'm going to do some open pollinating and then some other pollinations with a male that I find in there.
Sweet.
With those seeds, and probably give the open pollination seeds out as freebies maybe to people on the next drop. Max Yields, I got his Jimmy's Dream. I did pop the rest of my 10th Planet from Ethos, some Moscow Cringe, some Duke Diamond, Munson, and Granny Skunk, some of my own stuff, a bunch more Peach Typhoon and Key Lime Madness, some Swooner from Canorado, Cement Crunch from Universally Seeded, Fritter Liquor from Archive, and then Bloom Seed Co.'s Grape Fritter. And then Farmer John sent me a bunch of keeper cuts of clones too that are just absolutely stunning. So I'm going to do some breeding with those. The LA Kush, which is like a super, super sour flavor, like a sour diesel almost. Not LA Kush cake, it's just LA Kush. And then he sent me the Super Boof cut and RS11. And then I also have a Grape Rock Candy Banana Buttercups from Square One Genetics from one of my local clients who gave me a cut of that one that bud's awesome too. I think he may have given you some samples of that, but I'm not 100% at one point.
Mm-hmm. I think you might be right about that.
We met up at Any Can. He's the one who gave me the Thug Pug pack too.
Yep. Fucking fantastic, dude. I think you might be forgetting one. Did you mention the Katura Kush, that coffee Kush?
The Katura, yes. The Katura I did forget about. There's a few that I did not mention that I just can't remember off the top of my head. But yes, you're absolutely right. The Katura's in there.
Dude, just do me a favor and find a coffee bean male. Can you just do that?
Oh, dude, that's the only reason that I'm looking through those is for that those coffee bean phenos, because they were just so fucking good, man.
They were right on. Shout out to Cultivated Choice.
It's like opening a bag of coffee beans.
100%. And I've had
grinding it and smelling it.
Exactly. Nothing else. It was just coffee beans.
Nothing, dude.
People give me shit because one time when Coco was crapping on Blue Dream, I called it kind of one-dimensional. If a smell is one-dimensional, it just means that it has one aspect to it. That's what I would say is one-dimensional.
Yeah, it's probably nailed. Like if its name is apple pie, then, it's got the apple pie taste. And that's it, man.
That's what you'd expect.
Sometimes it's good.
And the thing is, though, like, I think that people like complex smells because there's more to it. If there's only one dimension, you either love it or hate it. When it comes to Pheno 1 of that Katura Kush, it was just coffee beans. I mean, it doesn't get more. Yeah, it doesn't get more one-dimensional, but I fucking loved it. I could not stop smoking it. It was just coffee beans.
Yeah, I feel like that one was almost like the Rotten Rosé, where it was just so unique that I've never come across rose terps, and I've never come across something that was that dead on coffee. I've had coffee flavored and smelling strains before, but nothing that was like straight coffee beans like that one was.
God, I hope you get one. Else. I really hope you get that same or something real close to that one I experienced.
Yeah, that one would be awesome.
Good shit, dude. We're all excited.
All these I'm looking through to do breeding with and, find new keepers. So people can be looking forward to seeing all sorts of stuff coming out soon with, plants that have been picked from that lot.
Nuts,
that I'm hunting through at the moment. So.
Yeah. So again, if you want to get in on this drop, you can hit up growcastpodcast.com/seedco. Member prices are going to stay the same forever. We'll probably raise our non-member prices next run. Expanding. Lots of good stuff going on. Thank you for all your support. And thank you, Rich, for all the wide variety of, again, you're not afraid to give these other guys their shine. Like there are some people out there making some fire shit and it moves so fast, right?
It does, man. Every day there's something.
It's crazy.
Every day something else is hype. Somebody's got a $10,000 cut and then next week the thing's only $100.
Exactly.
It's, you have to stay relevant. And like you said, like, I see a lot of breeders, and I'm not talking shit here, but breeders get so hung up on, some breeders do at least, of only using this genetics or these, that genetics, or only this breeder and that breeder. And for me, it's solely, I just want to find fucking awesome plants. I really don't care who made it. If it's a really shitty person who I just can't align with their views whatsoever, of course I'm not going to grow their stuff out. But overall, I'm not here for any of the drama between breeders. Or, to hear about what this guy's upset with the other guy about. I don't give a shit about that. I'm here for the plants. I'm here to find awesome shit and spread it around to people. I'm not here to, worry about what somebody thinks about the other guy or whatever. It doesn't mean anything to me. So I'm not going to discriminate against any strains per se,
100%. I couldn't agree more. And it's funny because we kind of, on that note, label a plant as created by the last person to polyhybridize it once. And like it has to be that way, right? Like that is the last person to do it. But you think about how old these plants are. And it's funny that we would label a plant as like, oh, that's no good because someone bred it. It's like, really, that was just someone who had their hands on it for the last stage. Does that make sense?
Right.
It's funny.
No, I totally get what
it's
you're
like
saying.
The plant was like created in a lab by the breeder. That's how
naming the plant. The redheaded stepchild or something.
Right. But it's been around a lot longer than the last breeder. You know what I mean? So it's just funny. It's funny how that works. Dude. But yeah, dude, thank you. Thank you for all your hard work. And yeah, super excited about hearing updates on these pollinations as they come.
Thank you for seeds and, thank you to the members and listeners who hooked me up with seeds and cuts and, shit like that. Like that's honestly what makes a lot of it possible to be able to look through a lot of this stuff, because I wouldn't have been able to source half of these genetics on my own.
Well, I'd say half. You have a pretty fucking cool library yourself, man. But
I
you're
do
right.
have a nice library, but definitely there's a good chunk of these seeds that I wouldn't have popped if people didn't give them to me or send them to me. So 100%. I'm incredibly thankful for that.
And then just really quick before we wrap it up, I am on behalf of a lot of listeners and members, I am trying to sway Rich this direction or that direction. The coffee was a no-brainer. I'm trying to get him to pop this Molokai Kush. Shout out to Good Gear Seeds. You guys loved that Hawaiian episode.
Yeah, I do.
I saw that episode did not get as many downloads as some of the other ones. Guys, if you haven't heard the Hawaiian, I know, dude. I don't know what you guys are sleeping on, because I got a lot of response from the, I don't know, like 70% of the usual downloads. But you guys are sleeping on that Hawaiian episode. Go check it out. And they sent some Molokai Frost, which I'll be hunting out and I'll be getting some to Rich. So yeah, I'm trying to, we're tying it in with the show. Like that sounds like a really interesting way to bring in some outside genetics. So we'll see. We'll see if Rich finds a keeper.
Dude, I'd love to look through those. Those Hawaiian ones you were showing me yesterday, they all look super interesting, man.
Hell yeah, dude. So yeah, again, thank you to Good Gear and Farmer John and Bobo and all the members and all you guys. Enough gush fest. I could do that all day, I swear.
Oh yeah.
But let's talk about some other stuff, man. Let's talk about Regen Conference was really cool.
Oh, that was awesome. That was a great time. Shout out to Steve and Dutch Blooms and all those guys and girls for hooking us up and having us come out and really being fucking awesome people while we were there.
Seriously, they were fantastic. What was one of them? Because I mean, I picked up a couple really interesting tidbits. Does anything jump out to you that you'd like to share here with the audience? Maybe give them a tease of the Regenerative Conference, or I can go first.
Go ahead.
We'll be right back with Rhizo Rich, but before that, the Foop, baby. FoopCanna.com. Find their nutrient line. Find their sweetener, now sold on its own. Their mist, a full spectrum foliar spray, and of course their clone gel. Growcast15 is the code, and that one is here to stay, baby. Growcast15, 15% off all across the site. FoopCanna.com. Now I'm going to focus on their mist. You've heard me talk about this stuff. It's great. It actually is based on their nutrient line. So the reason it's a full spectrum foliar is because a lot of foliar products will have like a nitrogen boost, have some hormones in there from aloe or something like that. But truly, the Foop mist has everything the plant needs: macronutrients, micronutrients, everything that's in the nutrient solution, plus some extra goodies. Peppermint oil in there, just a little bit for some IPM. It has some aloe extract for said hormones. It's got some, I want to say, willow bark. There's a bunch of good stuff in there, man. Some secret goodies in that mist. And like I said, it's one of the 2 products that I still use as a foliar. And you got to be careful with this stuff. That's how powerful it is. You know, start with one spray, one pump I'm talking about, and you'll see results instantly. It's also got some good microbiology on there for the phylosphere. It's got everything you need. I really like the Foop mist. Go and give it a try. And congratulations to the 10 winners of the Foop Suite. Yeah, 10 winners got a gallon just by entering at growcastpodcast.com/Foop. That contest might be running again at the time of this ad. I don't know, folks. I will keep you up to date, though, because they love giving stuff away to the Growcast audience. Huge thanks to Foop. Rich uses it. I use it as a bloom booster. FoopCanna.com is where you can find it. Code GROWCAST15, 15% off. Here to stay, baby. Thank you to the Foop. All right, let's get back to it with Rhizo Rich. I liked what Bug Lady was saying, Suzanne Wainwright, a former guest of this show. I like what she was saying about how they package and sell insects and predator insects.
Yeah.
And how sometimes they're like mixed in with the medium and like homogenized, whereas other times they are top loaded. So if you're like a microscope nerd and you open your bottle of insects and you look and it's top loaded, you're going to be like, whoa, this is way more active. The other one was a ripoff. I barely saw any. This one's loaded. And she was like, that's just because they're all concentrated at the top. And
right.
And then she also said how you should store those things on their side. Do you remember why she said that? Just because it was...
I don't remember.
I forget why she said that.
exactly.
But she said you should always store them on their side, which I thought was super interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but it kind of made sense because obviously they're probably getting more area to walk around and, you know, just all around things on its side versus just sitting up normal. But she did say something about a lot of these, when you get predator bugs, you know, they have other bugs in them to feed them while they're in transit and whatnot. So, which made sense, and I somewhat knew, but she had said something about, you know, with like some kind of beneficial mite, for instance, you might dump it out and see a bunch of one kind, only a few of the other. And,
right.
You know, that the majority of them are food for the others. So I just found that kind of interesting too, you know, that
100%.
They're not just shit by themselves, that you might, you know, get some spider mites in with your beneficial bugs or whatever, you know, because they're feeding them.
Yep. And then she said not to shake them, how you should always like gently roll them to mix them up before dispersing. It was just a lot of cool little tips.
Yes.
Yeah, that one jumped out.
Some really good tips and tricks, man.
Those stuck with me for sure. What about you?
That was one, I think I talked about it on Growcast TV or maybe an AMA or maybe a member pod that we did. But just the one guy who asked the question that, you know, to the panel of the people running the conference of if they ever found it acceptable a time to reach on a shelf and grab a bottle of something, you know, and I just found it interesting that instead of the old knee-jerk reaction of you should never do that and you should always, you know, use this organic or that organic, that they said it's all about, and the end result in getting yourself a successful harvest. So you need to do what you got to do.
Totally.
It's just refreshing to hear them say that, because I love organics. It is my style, but there is a lot of knee-jerk reaction type of people in that category. So it's just nice to hear the truth from some of the bigger guys that, a lot of us look up to. So we wonder what kind of their thoughts are on that kind of shit,
Yeah, like you specifically mean, the guy said, can you grab a bottle of salts? Does that basically make you a bad person or a failure as a gardener?
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. He's like, hey, look, if you need to grab something to get you through this run, is it, am I bad or whatever? And they're like, no, you need to, it's about having a successful harvest, not about, being stubborn. So It was just interesting to hear,
I think one of the panelists even said, like, you take a look at sustainability and the word sustainability and how the farmer has to be sustained. He's part of that sustainability. And how if you can, use a little bit of salt to get you over the first run to get your crop in to save your farm so you can then begin regenerating it. It's definitely an interesting approach. And I totally agree.
I thought it was a very interesting response, man. Like, yeah, you said it better than I did. I just kind of gave the gist of it, but they did go into it a little deeper than what I said. And you kind of hit on it. It was just super refreshing and, nice to hear them say some truthful things instead of, just what people want to hear or think they want to hear.
Well, it's funny because I think that people I think we as growers sometimes get a big head and we like
that's what I'm saying. We get this like reaction that sometimes it's just not realistic. It's more of like an old hippie way of thinking, and when you look at it long term, like you said, that's not really a realistic or viable option if you're not sustaining the farmer to begin with, so.
Yep. I totally agree. That was a cool question.
Stuff at that conference. I mean, honestly, just the networking and linking with people and hanging out with people and the seed swap and people swapping clones and, just the atmosphere of the place itself was phenomenal. Even if nobody was there giving talks, like just being there, it was just a good fucking time.
Yep.
Everybody that was there talking had so much useful information. The breeding panel was awesome. It's just awesome to hear these guys sit up there and talk about things, in person, and anybody could raise their hand and ask a question and, get a great answer from it. It was just a great time, dude. I really enjoyed myself at that one.
Yeah, that was killer. I totally agree. Just before we move off of it, I was also impressed by Jodrey, Kevin Jodrey,
yes.
The regenerative guy, but he didn't get up there. The one speech that I caught the full length of, he barely touched on, I'm sure he did on other talks and stuff, soil science and stuff, but he did a totally different talk on like surviving corporate cannabis and like NFTs and the metaverse. It was fucking dope. There's a clip up in membership right now. Yeah, that was a good talk, dude.
He really had a lot of good points to talk about in general, though. Like everything he said, if you know him already and know of him, he's a very knowledgeable person that's been in the game a while. So you kind of expect it. But when he got up, it was like everything he said was gold,
Yeah, he really knew what he was talking about on the business side. I wasn't aware of that. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have some of these people on the show. In fact, you may have heard Jameson. Yeah, you heard Jameson already. That guy was awesome.
That guy was awesome. Joshua Stinsland, too. I've been following him for a long time now, but it was really nice to meet him. Once again, another guy that gets up and talks organics and just super fucking knowledgeable, super smart, crushes it. And then when you go to meet him, he's just a very kind person. So anything that he was doing at the conference and talking about was super cool to hear.
Fucking right.
What was that other guy's name? Nick Risden, too, the guy that we got some rosin from. That guy had a lot of interesting
Lime Rising Farms. Yep. Yeah. Steensland and
both of those
Nick are coming on the show.
Incredible, man.
Super, super cool. And just really quick, I promise we won't be long. Shout out to Steve Reisner and Humidor and Izzy and CHGC and Flossie and all those Michigan guys. We just all went out to dinner after, and it was just fun, just smoking in the fucking cold.
That restaurant was shocked when we came in there, dude. We brought in that giant group of people, and we're all fucking stoned and reeking, and they just did not expect that. That was awesome.
Oh, man. Good times. And yeah, really can't recommend it enough. You can get that price of admission. Goddamn, you're going to really enjoy the content.
I think they're doing like a Zoom type of deal, too, if you can't make an actual
Yeah, that's what I
in
heard. I heard
person.
there's some changes coming. I'm not going to say anything, you know what I mean? I don't want to speak out of turn, but I heard
Right.
the same thing. I heard there's some big changes coming with the Regen conference. But anyways, we'll keep you guys up to date on all that. A really good time though, and Rich was with me, so I had to recap that, man. We've been all over though. We just wrapped up our grow classes yesterday. We did that last grow class on harvest, dry, and cure. Really
So
great,
fun.
great job as usual, Rich. Those are in Rockford, Illinois. Rich will be continuing to teach there. Moving down to Oklahoma now, folks. I'm very sad to be further away from Rich, but it's just for a couple of years, and we'll see where everything takes us after. But dude, I wanted to say, you know, some of the stuff we were getting into yesterday with the class was so awesome. I wanted to bring it here. Like you're always kind of, I don't know if inspired is the right word. Different ideas spark in your head when you're talking to different levels of growers. So for a lot of these beginner classes, they ask questions that make me fucking rethink everything. You know what I mean?
Oh, hell yeah.
Like
You
the
hit it,
simple
man.
philosophical question that like the
Definitely.
advanced grower isn't concerned with or whatever. I don't know. You guys know what I'm saying. It's like a kid. It's like a kid who asks you something really profound. And a lot of these beginner classes, you know, make me rethink everything. Here in Chicago, we were talking about harvest, dry, and cure. And what was it? The guy goes, "What are your curing parameters?" Right?
Yes, I do remember.
And at first I was like, okay, well, some people throw in the Boveda Packs and they're kind of creating an artificial kind of environment there. But what I said to him was, dude, you succumb to your local environment eventually. Like you can try to fight it. But after your dry phase, if you're going to be taking this bud out to a party eventually, if you're going to be curing it anywhere in your home and it's not in a humidor or something, you're going to succumb to your local environment to some degree, right? That's why California weed is different than Colorado weed. You agree with that?
Oh, 100%. You know, Colorado is known for being super dry, and that's how it is here as well in the wintertime. So I know exactly what you mean.
That's what I realized growing here in Illinois. My winter weed was different than my summer weed, drastically different.
Yeah, Illinois is weird like that, man. In the summer, you can get like a perfect cure, and then in winter, it's just always ungodly dry, you know?
We were just talking off air. You're saying you leave a bud out overnight on your desk, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
it completely changes it.
Completely, man. You come in the next morning, you know, and when I mean overnight, I mean like I'll go to bed at 10 or midnight, leave it on the desk and be up anywhere between 6 and 8 in the morning, and I can pick that bud up and put it between my fingers and, you know, kind of grind it up, as you would call it, with my fingers, and it just turns to dust, you know?
You just bust
Like
it.
literal dust.
100%. And that's like that Colorado weed. And you can still grow really good weed and dry it like that. In fact, as a joint smoker,
I prefer it, yeah.
yeah, sometimes I like to bust it and roll it out on that. But I'll tell you this, dude, that Humboldt weed, you better grab a grinder. You can't bust up that Humboldt weed. It's so sticky. It's that sticky icky. It's that West Coast Snoop Dogg sticky icky. And is it the cultivar? No. Is it the fertigation? No. It's the fucking climate, dude.
A lot of it is. You're right, man. Just the humidity in the damn air and temperature, you know?
It's the terroir, and more importantly, I think the actual climate. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Out there on the West Coast, they all eat that brioche bread. It's this like delicious French
I love
style
brioche. It's like,
brioche is the best.
oh my God, the buns, anything brioche is good. It's a little bit pricier though, for sure.
If you go and get the West Coast, like the real, is it the brioche? Yeah, I think I'm talking about the right thing. Anyways, they bake it in San Francisco.
It's not here now, it seems like.
They bake it in San Francisco at sea level. It's the same with the Dutch Crunch out there. It's different because it's baked at sea level in San Francisco. I'm going to type this in because this is going to drive me nuts.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it is brioche. San Francisco bread. Let's see what comes up. I think it's brioche. This is going to drive me nuts. I'll follow up on it. So it just doesn't, the chew isn't right. It doesn't set right. It doesn't rise right. And it's all because of the natural environment. Now, could they build some sort of space lab to make their bread? I'm sure they could, right? As cannabis growers, we could climatize our dry tent. And so it's taken care of there. And then get it into a curing jar inside a humidor. That would be a good way to keep it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could. I think a humidor would be something interesting to use somewhere like here in the winter, somewhere like Colorado, you know, just a room that stays the perfect humidity versus using actual packs, you know?
Yeah, I don't cure with the Boveda packs. I might be open to that, especially because they make those small ones. Back in the day, my version of the Boveda packs were always like kind of postcard sized.
The 1 pounder and 5 pounder ones or whatever.
Right. And I maybe that's just all they carried at Bayside or whatever. But I see the little mini ones now. I wouldn't necessarily be against that. I know some people say they steal terps. I know other people say that's bullshit. Other people say they've changed their formula over time.
I used to hate them, and I've used them recently and do like them. I don't use them to cure, but once I cure, if I think of something's going to be in storage a decent amount of time, then maybe I'll slip like an Integra pack or a Boveda pack in there, one of the small ones, like you said, into the jar for long term. But yeah, I'm not necessarily using it to cure. But like you said, there are definitely people who do that.
So, and if you're not, again, you're definitely succumbing to your local environment. Like I said, if you just take it out to a party. No, not sourdough. I'm writing Mrs. River about bread, not sourdough. Come on, woman.
Sourdough.
Yeah, if you take it out,
damn bread now.
If you take it out to a party, no, not focaccia. I'm closing this out.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
It is a good one, but that's not the one I'm talking about. I think it's brioche. Okay. Focus, Jordan. If you take it out to a party in a Ziploc bag, as soon as you kind of, like you said, take it out, leave it on the desk, it's going to start acclimating right away. If you're in a harsh environment like we are, yeah, it's just something that you kind of have to live with. I feel. Are there cannabis humidors? Like that product has to exist, right?
I would think so. I mean, I really don't see why somebody wouldn't have made something like that now. I know there's, like that Cannatrol machine we were talking about yesterday that dries and cures your stuff and leaves it at the perfect parameters that you set on the interface that it has or whatever. So I would imagine you could use something like that.
This product has to exist because I know to be clear, tobacco humidors are not good for cannabis.
Well, yeah, don't
storage. I think they're too wet
and some other shit in there too. So it always has some kind of a smell that I wouldn't necessarily want getting in my cannabis either.
Yeah, they're too dry or they're too wet or something. Someone said that you shouldn't, but there's got to be a cannabis version. There just has to be.
Yeah, I would think somebody's got to have something out.
Connoisseur, solid wood humidors to store your cannabis. Yeah, it looks like there's some companies out there. I wonder. I'm gonna have to take a look at some of these cannabis humidors, Crown humidors. Shouldn't just give promotion. I do not know if these are good companies. I'm just reading search results.
No,
these look
it's
nice.
Interesting to hear who has one because, like I said, I've only heard of maybe one or two that seem like they could be used for it. Crown humidors.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, these are like box ones.
Yeah,
these aren't
like
what I'm imagining.
Cigar ones that they retro.
They look nice, but I'm talking about like it looks like a mini fridge. You've got to store pounds in there.
Yeah, like a wine fridge kind of thing almost.
Yeah, you nailed
Basically,
it. That's closer to what I'm talking about.
They just stick that interface on it that has like a thermostat so you can, adjust for humidity and temperature. I'm pretty sure that's all they are.
And then they'll raise the price for the green tax, and then they'll sell it as
just cause.
Yep, paint it green.
Paint it green. Oh my God, and put a pot leaf on it.
Yep. Totally. That's the green tax, baby. Okay. Where were we? What are we talking about here? Yeah, the dry and cure class, man. That was really, really dope. And it was just something that I was thinking about. And it's one of the many reasons why what works in one garden may not, in fact, will not work in another garden. There's just so many individual factors depending on geographical location, climate, all sorts of different undeterminable amount of facets to this thing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
to where every garden is unique.
Yeah, you really got to dial your own setup and environment, and you can't go into your new setup thinking you're going to copy somebody's style 100%. You're going to 100% get their same exact results.
Totally, dude.
Never going to happen.
Really, the complexity of growing, which is why I love it. It's why we do what we do, baby. Oh yeah, I wanted an update on your grow. You've got you're doing all this pheno hunting. You needed to expand.
Yeah.
Did you just go back from containers to? I always used you as the example of the organic guy who crushes it in containers, and now you're telling me you're going back to living soil beds. I know you used to garden that way, so it's not like a shocker.
I honestly, I love both ways. Personally, I really, really like individual pots. I just like the plant to be able to have its own space and not have to really compete with anything. I do love beds. I had some 30-gallon, maybe a little bit bigger than that beds in the past, and they did really, really well. They were just kind of a pain to move around. I didn't put a whole lot of time and effort into them, you could say. They were just kind of like bins that I made into beds. So with this large pheno hunt of all these plants, it's really hard to a one guy team doing all the shit I'm doing already to have to transplant 106 plus plants a few times. So, I put them in their seedling, these little breathable bags you can get on Amazon. And from there, you can plant them straight into the next container or whatever.
Nice.
And I was thinking about it and I was like, I really don't want to have to transplant 100 plants and then have to transplant them maybe one more time. So I was thinking I really wanted to get some big beds and do a couple of beds again. So I thought it would be a perfect time to grab a couple big containers and make some beds. So I grabbed a couple 100-gallon pots and started making beds again, finished one the other day and put a bunch of plants in it. But yeah, I just figured, it would be a lot easier because I have all these plants. So it would keep me from having to transplant. I can just stick them, they're already in their bags, into the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, when you have that many plants and you cram all of them into the room to begin with, if they're already in individual pots, they're probably so close already that they're going to grow from fabric pot to fabric pot and end up connecting anyway. That's kind of what happened with the breathable bags that they're in right now. So if they're going to do that anyway, do you really want to lose all that space in between the containers where soil could be, and you could get more, room for the roots to spread out and they could have more soil, or a bigger battery, as you could say, because there is more soil in there. So it just made sense to kind of get some beds rolling again, simply because I don't want any wasted space in between the pots, and there's so many that it just kind of, it just made sense. And I wanted to get a couple living soil beds going again. So it's just the perfect time. And like I said, so far the plants are fucking really digging them. So I have no complaints. I've never done 100-gallon indoor beds though. So it's definitely a new monster for me. Like I said, maybe 30 to 40 or 50 gallons at most, but never 100-gallon. It's a lot of fucking soil, man. A lot of soil.
Yeah, that shit's going to be heavy when it's wet.
Oh, dude, 100%. Like they're not movable. I could barely move a 30 or 40-gallon bed when I had those. So 100 gallons.
Oh, man.
And I couldn't move a 30 or 40. I would have to, take some soil out just to move the thing. So these aren't going to be able to be moved or anything without seriously breaking them down and, take soil out and move them around that way.
Fucking right.
They're going to be permanent beds, no tills. I'm going today to pick up worms, and I'm going to dump a bunch of red wigglers in there. I got a nice soil mix going in there. I'm going to keep them rolling as long as I can and see how many cycles I can get out of them,
Fucking right, man. That seems to be if we can kind of break it down for the Grow Chat audience, that seems to be the kind of consensus when it comes to living soil, is that the more volume of soil, the more forgiving it is, the more that the natural processes can kind of take place. The fungal networks interlink, and that kind of synergizes them, makes them more effective. Worms have a better time sticking around and doing their job and getting that nutrient cycling going. You don't have as much dry off, so you're not losing the microbes as much. It's harder to overwater in general. It's harder to underwater in general. It takes just a similar amount of
less watering,
That's what I was going to say. It takes a similar amount of watering equipment. Like you could get your blue mat that you already have and put a soaker hose on the end of it, and half your bed is taken care of, or a quarter of your bed, right, is taken care of.
You make a good point, because I have maybe a dozen carrots or something. So I'm going to stick some carrots in a bed and let those go at it. But I really want to get some of those soaker hoses and have those going around all the beds and in them, because like I said, when you have over 100 plants, it gets really tedious being out there every day having to water them and do stuff. It's just, the bed seemed way, way more applicable for this run and future hunts,
So check this out, man. You got to tune into this upcoming episode. We bumped into Michael Box, Sustainable Village. We ran into him.
A cool guy.
Oh, yeah, dude. He rules. He came back on the show. The episode's recorded. It hasn't dropped yet if you're listening to this. But the code is active. Blue Mat code is active. Maybe it has dropped, actually. Sorry, I'm stoned. But here's the point.
Moisture sensors.
Goddamn right. He has this new style of fertigation that's insane. He's starting vegging in a 1 gallon pot, and he feeds it with a capillary mat through the bottom. So the root mass concentrates at the bottom of the pot, and like that's where it knows to go to drink. And then when he goes to plug it into his no-till bed, he doesn't dig a hole. He clears the cover crop and he plugs it in because the pot has no bottom to it. He's growing in a pot that's bottomless. And so then he just sticks it on the top of the fucking thing, and the roots are already concentrated at the bottom. It knows that that's where it needs to go to drink. And then you have this no-till system that you never even have to dig a planting hole into. And he staggers them, so it's nuts. And then he harvests it, and if you wait, the roots will get eaten by the microbes, and you can just lift the thing off. It won't. Right. If you harvest it and lift right away, it'll tear and stuff. Definitely. But if you harvest it and wait 2 weeks, he said you can just lift it right off. How crazy is that?
I've actually noticed that when I put fabric pots inside of bigger fabric pots that, if you try to tear it out when the plant's still going, like you said, it literally tears. But if you harvest and wait a little bit, you can just lift the fucker right out of there, because the roots are already starting to decay. The plant's not growing anymore. They're not as tough and holding on to that bottom container like they were.
Man, that's some fascinating shit. Because then you can get the high fertigation in the container as you're vegging it in the 1 gallon.
Right.
But there's no bottom to that thing. So in flour, you plug it in.
I love it.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's interesting.
That's kind of my idea with these beds in this hunt right now. And those little bags they're in now is, I really don't have to dig a hole to plant them in the bed. I kind of can just plop the plant that's in the bag right on top of the soil, and they can grow right into it. I mean, there's roots coming out of the bag on the sides of it, the bottoms of it. So, they're coming out everywhere. So you can put it anywhere and it'll attach. Now I did kind of just plop them on top of the bed, and then, threw some more soil on top so they would kind of have some support around the sides and shit. But theoretically, if I wanted to just throw them on top of the soil like that, it would have totally worked fine too.
Yeah, really interesting shit, man. I am going to do the same. I felt that one of the things I could have done better is have bigger volumes of soil. Yeah, but you did so well with it, man. Is your shit going to get even better? Because I don't know how you crush it like you do in kind of super soil set up in containers. But I guess now you're going back to the bed for ease, if anything. So
yeah, like I said, it's easier. And I feel like when I have so many plants, I look when I'm watering them in pots and I'm like, damn, look at that space in between all these pots. Like there's like 5 to 10 fucking plants that, worth of pot space that's in between these pots already growing that I could have been using, and I'm not, so why not have soil in there? And like I said, everybody's already growing into each other's pots anyway. Like you can lift one of those little bags up and you pick up a dozen plants with it. So
yep,
we're just all kind of interconnected to each other at this point.
Yeah, man. Well, you want to talk about your soil mix? I know you just mixed up a big old batch. I don't know if you want to speak on inputs you like, inputs you avoid, or whatever.
Yeah, what I did with this one is I did a little pre-made soil that I had on hand from Bio 365 because they sent me a shit ton of soil a while back. So I used some of their bags because it has biochar in it and it has some amendments. So I threw some of that in. I also got the blue and black Pro Mix bricks. It's basically HP, but it doesn't have as much perlite. And they're only about $13.50 for a huge 4 cubic foot bale of it. So it's incredibly cheaper than HP, which is usually like $40 to $60 a damn cube. I grabbed a couple of those and they're very inert. So I had to kind of make my own mix. I didn't use my old mix simply because I don't have all those amendments on hand at the moment. And I do have a bunch of other shit. So what I did is I took the bio and I put some on the top, and then some on the bottom of the bed. And then I took the bales of Pro Mix and put those in, broke them down, mix it up. Cause that filled a good half to 2/3 of the bed with the bales of Pro Mix. So I really had to amend it to kind of get it to where it had the same kind of nutrition as like the Bio 365 or like any pre-made super type soil would, have in it. So I took a bunch of the Coast of Maine lobster compost and mixed that in. Also earthworm castings from them And then they have that Stonington blend amendment mix, which you can use as a top dress.
So it's just the stuff minus the peat and perlite. It's the Nature's Living Soil Recharge Pack version of Stonington blend.
Yeah, it's like it's not the soil, but it's all the stuff that's in it. Exactly. And I think Next Level actually sells it. They gave it to us at NE Can. I got a bag of it.
I should grab one of those at the I guess
a 555. So you can top dress with it, or you can use it as an amendment mix. It already has like, I don't know the exact number. I'm just throwing this out there, but I want to say it has like 5 to 10 different amendments in it. So it's already like a package in itself. So I mixed some of that in. I mixed some of their other amendment package called Buds and Blooms in. I mixed a bunch of biochar, extra biochar that I had in, including some of that Foop biochar that you gave me, that new product or whatever.
Nice.
The compost, the earthworm castings, a little sustain, a little one shot. There's probably a few other things I'll add in here and there, as I'm finishing setting them up. But
damn, dude, you're freestyling this thing.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say freestyling. I've already used this mix with my dad, so he's had pretty good results, and I'm not worried about the results with it or just like slapping something together. I know this will be fine and work. It's just I've never done it in this volume, you could say, and I haven't mixed it with Bio 365, but like I said, after putting the plants in it, they've been in a few days and they are fucking loving it, dude. I mean, they just look incredibly happy. They're growing already nice and green and perked up. So I have a feeling it'll be fine. And like I said, as I go along, if I need to top dress more stuff into it, I will. I could always just send a sample out to Rimrock possibly and have them test it and see where my levels are at. And if there's, if I need to add any more calcium or any more nitrogen. I basically went off like kind of just the directions on the Coast of Maine bags and shit like that. So
sweet, man.
I'm sure it'd be decently balanced, but I'm sure, if we got it tested, there would be a few things where it could be tinkered with. So I could always do that, but I am going to freestyle that part and just let the plants kind of show me what's going on. And if I need to add anything, I can,
Nice, man. I love it. I love the transition to a larger volume of soil. And I want to see what this does. Yeah, as far as your end results on the flower side, and then the ease on the breeding side.
Yeah, and I'll still have potted plants too, but I just the majority of like the plants I hunt through, and I have a bunch of seedlings now, are going to be in beds. So that initial pheno hunt of seeds, when I'm looking through them, I don't have to grow them super big, and I can put a bunch of plants in the beds, flower them out, get an idea of what everybody looks like, and then, pick the keepers and run those again like I normally would. So the beds are going to make hunting a lot easier for me because I'm hunting a lot of plants these days now that I'm breeding more and, looking for new stuff. So I really needed to figure out a way to be able to hunt plants easier. And it just seems like it's going to make a lot more sense for me.
Fucking right, man. I can't wait to get my shit reset. Always good reset, you know what I mean? That always feels good.
Oh, the after remove reset? Those are the best.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. I know there's probably some listeners right now experiencing that. So that's where we're at, everybody. Make sure to stay tuned, obviously. I think that's all for today, everyone. Let's see. What else do we need to tell you before we sign off here? Of course, get on the list, growcastpodcast.com/list. That's the green list. All the offers and Peachquake offers and stuff like that is up there. Find the new pollination itself at growcastpodcast.com/seedco. Membership, of course, /membership. Everything we're doing, you can find all the action at /action. Is that all, Rizo Rich? What else is going on? The Cultivator's Cup is full. We'll see you in April. Rich will be down there. That's going to be fun.
That's going to be amazing down at 3 Mile at the Hideaway and shit, our little Growcast Cultivators Cup. Looks like we got a lot of people signed up, so it's going to be a really fun event from what I can see.
We are maxed out, listeners. We will do, the next one won't have a capacity limit. The response was overwhelming. There's going to be live music. There's going to be food trucks. It's going to be really fun, and we're going to do another one so that everybody can get in on it. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for Colorado in May, Los Angeles in June, East Coast later this year.
Yeah, I'll be in Virginia next week. I'm going to try to do a meetup. So anybody who wants to link up in the Virginia area next week, I'm game. And
that might have already been in the past. What's the date on that Virginia trip?
I am going to be there. Let me pull up my calendar. I know that the day I would like to do a meetup was a Sunday, so it looks like
the 20th. Sunday the 20th? Yeah, Sunday the 20th. That could have just passed. So either hit up Rich when you're hearing this to organize the meetup, or if it's passed, then say thank you, because I'm sure that it was a great time out in VA. We're all over the place, people.
It should be fun. You know, I'm looking forward to getting back on the East Coast, even if it is just for a trip, and seeing some people and meeting with some new people. It seems like there's a lot of growers in Virginia now coming out of the woodwork, so I love seeing that.
Fuck yeah, dude. I love connecting with the listeners across the nation. It's like my favorite thing to do. And everyone has so much fun at those seed swaps and meetups. So very excited. Wish I could make that Virginia one, but I'm sure you guys will have a blast with Rhizo Rich. All right, man. Well, I guess that's all for today. This is Rhizo Rich and Jordan River signing off, saying be safe out there, everybody, and grow smarter.
Later on.
That's our show, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Thank you to Rhizo Rich, as usual. One of my mentors in growing. Man, that guy grows some fire. Go give him a follow, of course. Rhizo_Rich_ICC. And while you're at it, check out today's partner, Purity Coffee. You guys have heard me talk about this coffee. It's the best coffee in the world. Regeneratively farmed, tested for maximum antioxidants, no mycotoxins, no pesticide residue ever. PurityCoffee.com. Code GROWCAST. This is a brand new code, so if you've purchased in the past, you can save 20% with code GROWCAST today, baby. One-time use, grab a 5-pound bag, sign up for their subscription. It is worth it. Up-level your game. You don't smoke mids. Why are you drinking mids with the coffee? I'm telling you, man, they lab test their beans. I've been down to the farms. You can meet the farmer. Go to puritycoffeepodcast.com/Columbia and meet Francisco, a Purity Coffee farmer who we went down and spoke to. We talked to him, walked his organic farm, rainforest-friendly farm, talking about birds returning to the region that haven't been there in 10-plus years because of the farming practices that they're doing. It's crazy stuff. Purity Coffee's the best. PurityCoffee.com, code GROWCAST. Go and grab it. Oh, and did I mention one lucky code user is going to automatically win a green coffee bean kit so you can grow your own coffee tree. How cool is that? PurityCoffee.com, code GROWCAST. For my favorite coffee, the healthiest coffee you can find. All right, everyone. What do we got going on? I'm moving down to Oklahoma later this week, and Cultivators Cup is coming up. All sorts of trips. Get on the green list. That's really where I do the most travel date updates. As soon as I learn it, it fires out that Friday. And that's at growcastpodcast.com/list. Free to sign up. And we do giveaways on there too. You really want to be on the list if you're listening to this show. I think that's all, folks. Thank you so much. I appreciate your ears. Got so many giveaways coming up. It's effing crazy. So stay tuned, y'all. All right, that's all. See you next time, everybody. Best of luck in your gardens. Bye-bye.